Coach of the Year, and he's going to give us a few words. So thank you, Tim, for joining us.
All right. I just want to say thank you to Laura and Heather and the entire Igniting Innovation team for having me here today. So I actually want to open this up. Let me go ahead and pull up my show here. Oops. There we go. Okay, so I want to open this up. I want you to actually try and experiment with me for a moment. Think about a time where either collaboration worked really well or failed miserably. What made that collaboration successful? Or what was missing that made it fail? Hold on to that idea, because I guarantee by the end of this talk, we will have identified that component. I believe that being the best in the world at collaborating will result in the most engaging, successful professional learning community possible for both within and beyond your building. I am delighted to be here today to share my story and the concrete steps you could take to make collaboration more than just a buzzword. Last year, one of the best books I read was Edgar Schein's Helping. I always come back to one of my favorite quotes found in that book. We do not typically think of an effective team as being a group of people who really know how to help each other in the performance of a task. Yet that is precisely what good teamwork is: successful, reciprocal help. Successful means that it works, and reciprocal means that it goes both ways. To me, that means that team members need to check their egos at the door. A great example, sorry, that's my older son there. A great example comes from our World Series champions, the Washington Nationals. There we go. Okay. Their dugout chemistry is well known. Yet none of the members on that team will take credit for creating that vibe. It is owned by the team. The comfort level of all team members to credit the team over any individual suggests that there's an atmosphere where everybody, oops, I totally forgot to put that up there, sorry, where everybody demonstrates mutual trust and respect. Mona Sutphin, a former White House Deputy Chief of Staff, has said, most good relationships are built on mutual trust and respect. I'll come back to respect in a bit. I want to start by focusing on trust, because I think that trust is the often overlooked linchpin of quality relationships. Trust involves risk-taking and vulnerability, and in our field, leaning into those components is the most effective way to learn how to build our capacities as educators. As a coach, the primary focus of my work these days is partnering with teachers to help students learn more deeply and intentionally. I've learned that these relationships only work when the teachers and coaches have trusting relationships. A colleague shared a story about her work with a collaborative learning team. She's right over here. She introduced a new tool to one of her teams during a meeting and found herself fielding requests to support it in each of those teachers' classrooms. Not only that, they actually asked her to come in and lead the sessions with the students, which shows a tremendous amount of trust from those teachers in that coach. Oops, forgive me on that. Now, how did she build that trust? It was one step at a time. Based on research, it seems that this is the most effective way to build trust. Brené Brown says, it turns out that trust is in fact earned in the smallest of moments. It is earned not through heroic deeds or even highly visible actions, but through paying attention, listening, and gestures of genuine care and connection. Ask yourself, isn't it true that the most trusted and respected person in your building is the person who most consistently gets the little things right? Asking simple questions like, how are the kids? Got any big plans for the weekend? Remembering birthdays. Or congratulating you on special recognitions. All of these things take minimal effort, and all of them acknowledge your humanity before your employment status. What's tricky about acknowledging humanity is that every person is an individual with different core values that need to be heard, understood, and accounted for in order for each person to bring their best work for the good of the team. When we truly hear others and consider how our work accommodates their perspectives, we have started to find the value in all team members. Let's return to that concept of respect. Respect is too often only considered at the surface level, the polite words and phrases that allow us to sound pleasant to one another. If we both use them, then we have mutual respect, right? Under that definition, I would argue that mutual respect is not enough. We've all been in that situation, not of our own volition, where we've been tasked with collaborating with other people. Usually we call this group work. I thought that would get a bigger laugh. Oh well. We usually do whatever is needed to get the task completed while prioritizing efficiency over learning. We may find that our collaborators have a different set of beliefs, learning styles, teaching styles, appetites for technology, and any other set of differences. We need to be intentional about valuing what our team members bring to the table. This makes teamwork hard work. Instead of getting bogged down in the negativity, this is an opportunity to reframe our thinking and find the value in all members. We now have access to other perspectives and voices that we may not have otherwise had. The challenge in our work is now centered around ensuring all voices are heard. Like all high schools in FCPS this year, we needed to develop a learning innovation team at Bryant. Our selected members had never worked together in this capacity before. So we needed to create working agreements. We intentionally chose to commit a significant amount of time and resources on this work beyond what is normally allotted. We used a values ranking exercise developed by Brené Brown to help our members filter down to their top 3 values. We then charted all the values and facilitated a discussion where we used the chart as a reference point to understand each other's perspectives and understand the values the team held as a single entity. These values became the drivers for crafting a common vision. A common vision needs to be lofty enough to evolve as successes are celebrated. Let's go back to the Nationals again. For quite some time, their tagline has been, "Go 1-0 today." In other words, focus on today, win today's game. And hey, they took it all the way to the World Series, right? Oops. Everyone needs to see themselves in the common vision. And the most successful teams take this as a part of their identity. The Nationals are a prime example of this. In their clubhouse, everyone is on the same level and is treated the same way, regardless of their status on the team. Veterans are as much a target of jokes as minor league call-ups. They are also held to the same expectations. Adam Eaton, one of the veteran leaders on the team, was taken aside after a game in September where he made a mental mistake. He was told he simply had to do better. This feedback came from a teammate, not the manager. Eaton viewed this as normal and expected. This is where our professionalism comes into play. We need to remember to be respectful of our team members and hold each other accountable to our agreed upon standards. Additionally, we need to ensure that we are practicing professionalism, which means we are always seeking to do better and build our capacity in our craft as educators. The expectations need to be the same across the board for all team members. And from here, we need to avoid the buzzing from the speaker and instead embrace and, From here, we need to intentionally inject fun and levity. when the success starts to lag, and I'm telling you, it will. Inject fun. Fun doesn't have to be expensive, complicated, or universal. Simple things like intentionally coordinating outfits across a team, team lunches, and dessert parties, or spontaneously bringing bagels and coffee butter for an impromptu taste test can break the monotony of the usual day-to-day activities. And yes, the coffee butter does in fact have actual caffeine in it. The emphasis on fun is more than just a personal preference. Research shows that when we have fun with others, the experiences have a positive effect on building trust and developing communication. Something to note, what may be fun for one person may not be so for someone else. Everyone has different levels of tolerance for words and actions. I found myself pushing a joke too far once at a previous school, and it damaged my relationship with a colleague. This will happen on occasion, and it's normal. When it does, it is important to remember that we need to be willing to make repairs. Relationships are an essential piece to the work of a team. When a relationship is damaged, the circuit is broken and the bulb doesn't light up. This is when we need to lean into our own vulnerability and acknowledge that we have caused damage and make amends. Often, that could be accomplished by a heartfelt apology and the willingness of both parties to keep moving forward. Being willing goes beyond asking for and granting forgiveness, and also permeates into the everyday work that makes good teams great teams. Remember our friend Shine when he said good teamwork is successful reciprocal help? It wasn't his only piece of wisdom. He also said teamwork often depends on the passing skills and a willingness to set each other up for the final score. When we work together as a team, it isn't about the individual recognition. It is about accomplishing the goal. We may find that we need to check our ego at the door in order to continue building our team's capacity and have the greatest impact on the students we serve. This year, FCPS unveiled a new theory of action. The centerpiece is the work of the school as a professional learning community. Just as we are asked to engage in collaborative learning team cycles in order to deepen our practice and build our capacity, we also can be intentional about the structure we use to build strong collaborative teams and partnerships. At the beginning of this talk, I asked you to think about a time when collaboration worked really well or failed miserably. My hope is that in this talk, I have pulled back the curtain on what makes collaboration successful on a team and has given you the inspiration to supercharge your teams and continue this critical work in your building. Thank you for your attention this morning, and please enjoy all the great sessions.